Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Ask That Podcast on YouTube. I had not planned on doing this at all. Because I figure everybody talks about Crisis. But, and I'll admit I made a mistake. I decided to, and this was not the mistake. I'll explain that in a second. I've been hearing from a lot of people that this Crisis on Infinite Earths event on the CW show with the CW verse, the Arrowverse, whatever you want to call it, was really good. Now, I had watched like the whole first season of Arrow, was not really into it because it was not the Green Arrow I enjoy. I'll enjoy the Mike Grell. You know, I enjoy the Green Arrow from like the 70s on. I like that Green Arrow, not the basically just Batman with a bow arrow, and that's what the show was. But it was not a bad show, just I didn't enjoy it. The Flash, I watched the first season, it was pretty good. I think Danielle Panabaker is just a horrible actress, and they focused way too much on it in the second season. I gave up on it. Never watched Black Lightning. Batwoman just started. I've never watched that. Legends of Tomorrow, I've seen the first season, enjoyed it, just kind of got behind on it. And Supergirl, I watched the first season on CW, thought it was good. Melissa Benoist, I think is the lady's name. She really good Supergirl. But I heard how great this event was, and thankfully, you know, the CW app, you can watch the episodes a day after they air for free. They got little commercials, but, you know, an hour-long show with their ads put in is like 52 minutes and some change. So, still short and watch it on TV. So, I'm aiming the Crisis. I'm going to do my collection of Crisis and Crisis-related comic book trades. Now, I'm not going to go through these real thoroughly. I'll save that for another video. But this is, and I think I've still got all these in issue form. This is Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's the original from, what year was it? 1985. Worlds live, worlds died, and the DC universe was never the same. Crisis on Infinite Earths. In 1985, DC dramatically altered comics' original universe with Crisis on Infinite Earths, a 12-issue series that rocked the comics community, tragically dooming some of DC's most beloved characters and drastically altering others. An unforgettable, and defining event in comics history. Crisis was arguably the first company-wide crossover to make good on its promise of lasting change. And it really was. Marvel had done, Contest of the Champions, and that didn't really do shit, and Secret Wars didn't do a lot then. Read by Mara Wolfman and penciled by George Perez. Inked by Dick Giordano, Jerry Ordway, and Mark DiCarlo. Crisis on Infinite Earths finds the alternate worlds that were once the hallmark of DC Universe under siege by a mysterious force powerful enough to wipe out the lives of billions. All right, this was a $30 trade, because this is a really thick, it's 12 issues. I got this through the Science Fiction Book Club for next to nothing. But, well, what the story is, in this, there is crossover issues that tie into this. There's all kinds of extra stuff if you want it. Back then, DC had multiple Earths, because they bought up so many companies. Like, the quality characters were on Earth X, and that's like Doll Man and Uncle Sam and the Ray, and with the Human Bomb, and I think Phantom Lady. The Captain Marvel, the one that everybody knows now is Shazam. The Shazam characters were on Earth S, and it's like, you know, Captain Marvel Jr., Mary Marvel, Dr. Sylvania, Black Adam, all those characters. Plus other characters. There was other characters that they got from that company. So, and they had, you know, Earth 1 and Earth 2. Earth, if I'm remembering this right, if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. Earth 2 was the original DC superheroes that were published, like, starting with Action Comics #1, and a little bit of stuff before, like Dr. Occult and shit like that before that. And Earth 1 was the Silver Age and up. They said people found this confusing. I kind of did a little bitty bit as a kid, but 86, I was 11 and 12 by the time this happened. I had it down pat by then. You know, it's like 5 or 6. I kind of found it confusing. Like, I'd pick up one issue of, you know, let's just say like Adventure Comics, and Batman's married to Catwoman, has a daughter named Huntress, and I pick up the next issue, you know, next month, a detective, and Batman's not married to Catwoman, and, you know, I figured it out. This is a really cool trade. I don't want to open it too far, but look, it does the covers. It does, you know, this is in really good shape. I've read it once or twice. I enjoy it, but it's one that I've read a lot. I was not reading it as it came out exactly. At that time, I was not getting to the comic shop every week. I was probably in the comic shop like once a month or once every 5 weeks. The owner understood, and I was getting this, plus the tie-ins, if they're in series I read or stuff that looked halfway interesting. So I was getting about half of it. So I was going in about every 5 weeks and picking up a stack of this stuff. And I remember I didn't read, I want to say I remember really like the first 6 issues all in like over one weekend with all the crossovers and shit. But that's the original Crisis. They've had other Crisis, so I'm going to show you the other ones I actually own. A few of these I don't own, but good at that now. And this is the one that the Crisis on Infinite Earths on CW seems to be covering, but this has Superman as the lead. You see Supergirl's dead there. Is Alex Ross on the cover? Yeah, that is Alex Ross on the cover. Flash, the Barry Allen Flash, which that is the Flash. Yeah, that's Barry Allen on the CW show. He dies in this. Whereas on this, of what I've seen of the CW when I still got the last episode, I think I might have said I watched it. I'm sorry, I have the last episode to watch. I'm on. I just finished the Arrow episode, which was episode 4. It was Barry Allen, but it was damn it, what is his name? The Flash show from back in the early 90s, like John Wesley Shipp. That Flash show was on CBS for like 1 season. It was pretty good. All right, let's go to the next trade. Be back in a second. Okay, so 20 years later, roughly, 86 for original Crisis, 2006, DC started Countdown to Infinite Crisis. Because what happened with the original Crisis was it was supposed to fix everything, but they had a couple things. It was fuck-ups that comic fans just kind of said, fuck it. Most of them didn't care, but enough did that they decided to fix this. And there's shit like, okay, after the Crisis, there was only one Earth, which I've heard that's what happens in the CW series. There's only one Earth. Well, Superman got a revamped origin where he was the only Kryptonian left, so no Supergirl, no, Super Dog, all this shit. But characters and that would work good. Batman kind of got a slightly revamped origin. Hawkman's one that was really fucked up because Hawkman had this original kind of Silver Age origin after Crisis, and a few years later they got, I want to say it was Tim Truman on it, but I don't know if he was doing art or writing. It's called Hawkworld, and they revamped Hawkman completely. Well, DC tried in the early to mid 90s, like when I was in high school, revamping everything with this thing called Zero Hour. It didn't work. They tried later on when they did, what was that called? The Kingdom? It's an event that introduces a thing called Hypertime, which is basically any story we ever told actually happens, but it might be an alternate universe. There's no way to get to them. Something like that. So they came up with Infinite Crisis. They're going to solve this shit. Because at the end of the original Crisis, Superman of Earth 2, Superboy Prime, Earth Prime was basically the world that the readers of the comics lived in. He was the only superhero in that world. And he showed up right before the Crisis started. Lois Lane of Earth 2, and Alexander Luthor, who's the son of Lex Luthor of Earth 3. Earth 3 was the world where everything was reversed. Like all the superheroes were bad guys, and that's where the crime syndicate comes from, and all the bad guys were good guys. This is Crisis of Conscience. What happens is the fucking Justice League ends up turning on each other because what happens in Identity Crisis. Identity Crisis, another Crisis-like series, but it's not universe affecting as badly. Like, the stakes are still high, but what you find out is that Batman got mind wiped by the JLA because they did something I understand why they did it, and I understand how they justified to themselves doing this. I don't want to spoil it too much. But that caused this to happen. And this is a great, if I'm pretty sure, that looks like Rags Morales artwork. That is a great cover. And this is a trade that I got one year for Christmas. For quite a few years there at Christmas, my 2 aunts and my uncle, my mom's 3 siblings, they give me presents every year. They tell me I'll go make a wish list somewhere. Well, I found out InStockTrades.com, they had a wish list feature, and I'd put stuff on there and give me stuff to you. And my mom's one brother was a huge comic fan, so he would, sometimes he'd forget. I found out he did this because he forgot a couple of times. He would order these comics for me. Because he'd tell my 2 aunts a lot of times, hey, I'll pick them out because I know what so-and-so likes to read. He gets stuff in and he'd read it himself, and sometimes he'd leave the bookmarks in there. That's how I found out. He has passed now. My mom only has one sibling left, which is her older sister. Her sister is closest age to her. Good artwork. It's that shiny paper, though, so they ain't going to show up as well. There's Supergirl. It was very entertaining, and it's kind of the first appearance that you find out of Superboy Prime. Now, this is where DC just tried their best to fix everything. This is Infinite Crisis. This is from... when did this come out? I don't remember, and it's another one I've read multiple times. I need a harness to hold this camera. 2006, duh, 2006, okay, so 20 years later, DC, you start seeing little clues that something's up. And at this time, Wonder Woman's wanted for killing Maxwell Lord, the guy that kind of helped restart the Justice League after Crisis and Legends thing. Yeah, Batman Superman. That is Jim Lee, I'm pretty sure. But this was Jeff Johns is the main writer, Phil Jimenez is the main artist, George Perez does some work, Jerry Ordway, Ivan Reyes, and Andy Lanning. And this was a 6-issue trying to fix everything. You find out that in the Pocket Universe where Superman Earth 2, Lois Lane of Earth 2, Superboy Prime, and Alexander Luthor were living, Paradise they'd live forever. Well, turns out Paradise is boring as fuck, but there's only 4 of y'all there. So Superboy has been going to the barrier and punching it, which has been causing reality ripples. That's why shit like, all of a sudden you find out in the Batman series, Jason Todd, the Robin that got killed, but got capped by Joker years and years ago. The fans voted like, hey, fuck this motherfucker, kill him. He's back. All this shit, like that explains the Hawkman, all the weird fucked up, like Hawkman's had like 5 origins and none of them make any sense when you try to figure out the way the stories work. That was what this was. And they fucking escape, and that's how, like the first issue ended, was with all them breaking out of that universe. Power Girl, perfect example. Power Girl was Earth 2 Superman's cousin. Works perfect. Well, they wanted to keep Power Girl around, and when there's no Earth 2 Superman, there's no other Kryptonians, all of a sudden, like, for a while there, she was Orion of Atlantis' granddaughter or some shit. Her powers are magic-based. And then they made her where her powers were like Superman, but we didn't know why. And it, just shit like that. And this fixed a lot of, this is a really, really, well, and I'm not, I know some of y'all are motherfucker, I know you hate Jeff Johns. I do not like Jeff Johns. I think this is probably one of the best things he's ever done. It's weird, like, I don't like him on regular shows, but when you're doing big crossovers like this shit's not bad. It works. Even if a lot of the times he's just taking, and a lot of writers do this, a lot of great writers do this, taking old stories and just putting a new spin on them. Because, I mean, what is the old saying, there's only like 5 basic stories? Yeah, I figured, with Crisis hitting, I'll do this, Crisis. And there's other Crisis. I mean, there's Final Crisis, which I've never actually read. There's, they've been done all kinds of shit. There's the new 52. There was 52 after this. DC, I don't know where the fuck they are now. But, hey. Hope y'all enjoy that. Oh, where did I get this one? This one came... I bought this at a bookstore myself, actually. There was a bookstore in the mall south of us that had a small comic trade thing, and every once in a while I get coupons in the mail from, and I got like a 10 or 15% off trade coupon, because this was $15 for 6 issues, which is not horrible. And you see it's got a little damage on it, but Jim Lee does good covers. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Remember, if you did, give me a thumbs up. There it is. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends, share the videos, all that other bullshit. And I got a weird question. If you listen to all this, everybody listen to all this at the end, here's my question for you. Where do you watch my videos at? I mean, not like on YouTube or shit. Do you watch them on like on your phone, your laptop, your desktop computer, your tablet, your TV? I'm just curious. Like, currently in my house, I got multiple ways to do it. And my house is not the highest tech house, because of having Dish Network, I can watch YouTube through Dish Network. I have a Roku hooked up to every TV in the house. We have Blu-rays hooked up to every TV. That can also do YouTube. I got a tablet, I can watch YouTube multiple ways, which comes in handy. But just curious about that. Well, talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.